Welcome in to the Fantasy Football Game Show. We are back. We are Front Yard Fantasy, brought to you by the Better Sports Network. We got a Scott Fish mock draft today for you all. I am JL, joined by my best friend, Tim, a.k.a. Craig No Snipe Me. We are also joined by special guest today. He's a contributor at Fantasy Impact Today and also producer on Finding Faith, Losing Sleep podcast. We got our man, Pierre Wilson, in the house. What up, Pierre?
What's going on, gents? You guys doing all right?
Oh, I am doing fantastic. And Tim is also doing fantastic. I answer for him now.
Yeah, there you go. You got the right answer.
Well, 'tis the season, the fishbowl. It's started off. I think Buffalo kicked us off last night, and there's other leagues getting ready to go for cherry. So it's nice. Good time to be alive.
Football season is underway, and you're right, Scott Fish Bowl. It kicks off here in a few days. And we're here to get you prepared. Pierre, what spot are you at in the Scott Fish Bowl?
I'm in the 7, so I'm in the Funyuns division. Love me some Funyuns.
Nice.
Run through a whole bag. But yeah, I'm in lucky number 7.
Tim, what position and division are you in?
I'm at the 11 spot, and I am in the Bud Light division. I was trying to snag the Coors division, and then I did one mock draft, and the spot went away. I'm like, no, I actually like that spot. So I had to go to the Bud Light.
Man. Just took the second choice. You're totally fine with that. Just settling.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like
there are so many options. But
I did too. Fanta, or as you say, Fanta.
Fanta. How the commercials and how it canonically said.
We're not getting into that. It's not about that, Tim. You know what? Forget it. We got Craig in the chat. Said today Pierre is making his 4th appearance on an FYF show. He's last on January 31st. Playing pole perception with Sam Wagner and Simon while JL hosted. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Like, I think I lost to Sam. First appearance, Price is Right, knocked it out of the park, kind of destroyed you all, honestly. But pole perception was hard, man. I'm clearly not up to date with the public when it came to that. So.
See, that's the game we always throw at the guests who are just doing a little too well.
There it is.
Because you can't really dispute it. You don't know where I found this goal.
It's true.
We got some people in the chat. Some more people in the chat. We got Jay said, I said what I said. Because he called everybody FYFers. There you go.
I've been called worse.
I've been called worse. We got Better Boss in the chat. So thank God it's Friday, everyone. Welcome in, Matt. We got Scampers in here. Just learned this is an SFB mock. And it is indeed an SFB mock. So why don't we pull up the board and get this mock draft going. All right, I'm going to start the draft. It looks like our good buddy Z2 is on the clock. These are Scott Fish Bowl. I'm sorry, this is not a Scott Fish Bowl draft. What am I doing? It's a SuperFlex draft. Why did Scott Fish choose those SF to start his name? That's very confusing. We are not doing a Scott Fish
choose beforehand.
Yeah. All right, so forget everything I just said. We're doing a SuperFlex redraft mock. Sorry, Scampers.
It's pretty similar. Obviously, the scoring could be unique, but SuperFlex is still pretty similar to the Scott Fish Bowl. So
Scott Fish Bowl is a SuperFlex league, so some of the strategy will be really the same with the Scott Fish Bowl draft. Obviously, having the nuance. Tim, are you still drafting on Scott Fish Bowl time?
Well, I mean, without
like you're in that spot.
So yeah, kind of. I picked it just because I want to see if I can get the first two combo, but then I saw Craig took the next spot, so I'm kind of not in a good place anymore. I just know he's going to snipe me somehow, some way. So we'll see. We're going to pivot so hard already. I'm tilting. I'm sweating. It's mock season, and I'm so excited. This is what you do it for.
It is what you do. Pierre, who are you thinking about as your picks coming up here at the 7th spot?
Well, that made it a little easier. Really on Fields and Burrow pretty highly, just in general this season. Really like Fields. I think he's going to take another step. But for this, I'll go safe. I'll take Smoking Joe. He's just too talented to pass on there.
You think the Bengals win that division?
They should. Obviously, Lamar's kind of the X factor. I think, in that division there. I don't know if Deshaun Watson will ever find, I guess Houston Texans Deshaun after all his legal stuff. So yeah, Baltimore is really their only competition, I feel, but I still think Cincinnati pulls it out.
Yep. See, Swamps. This is why I can't have nice things. And see, this is why we pivot right away, and I'm pivoting very hard.
Ooh, Travis Kelce. I like that pick. You guys, I feel like, Tim, weren't you on the other day when the discussion around Travis Kelce being taken as early as the first spot in the Scott Fishbowl draft came up?
Yeah. I mean, I don't have the courage to do that, but I mean, you're not that far wrong if you want to do that. I mean, he's the absolute game changer at any position. Like, he's leagues above the next in that spot. So if you want to take that chance and go for it, man, I love it. It's the perfect color. The orange just looks so nice.
Just throws it. Yeah, nobody's expecting it, and it just really it adds to it.
Oh, now I got so much to do here.
Yeah, back on the clock here.
And Craig makes sense with Kelce, like in the format with the scoring of the Scott Fishbowl. So I probably go there if he's available.
At 101, you go there?
I mean, he separates himself so much. I hate the quarterbacks that kind of come back in round 2. There's the only maybe hesitation, but I mean, even Andrews, he wasn't close to Kelce. So as long as he doesn't get hurt, you're golden.
Yeah, I think it's totally fair. I think it's a viable strategy, Scott Fishbowl, and I am excited for when those slow drafts start, and somebody's gonna do it, and Twitter's just gonna explode.
Oh yeah.
As long as it's not Matt Barkley. Wasn't that a couple of years ago where someone thought it was Saquon and took Matt Barkley?
Oh my God, I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Oh,
wrecked.
That was amazing.
You wait all year for that invite, and then it gets there, and you just fumble in the first round. DK Metcalf. Oh no. Oh no, Pierre, back on the clock. Steve, right before you got that double wide receiver stack, the Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb.
That's pretty nice. I'm gonna go RB. I know folks are no RB these days, but I still like a good running back, so I think I'm gonna go running back here.
It feels so much better just having one position. You're like, all right, we got one guy that's
don't gotta worry.
Don't have to think about it.
Tim, who's your running back 1 in redraft, just for this season?
Just for this season, I mean, I think right now
it's CMC, right? You just took him.
Yeah, it's CMC. I still love Eckler in PPR. I think those two guys aren't really going anywhere. I mean, it's theirs to take at this point. And Bijan has all the opportunity in the world, but I am not one of those people that is going to take that shot. And maybe that's the reason I lose the league, and I'm okay with that. But
yeah. I think you got to know which bets you're going to take, right?
Yeah.
That's fantasy decision making. Is you got to choose which bets you're willing to go in on. CMC is a pretty good one to put your money on. It's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
I feel like they could run, they being the Chargers, they could run Eckler into the ground with that contract situation. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure he's in the last year. They kind of paid him a little bit, to actually show up this year. And why not just kind of run him in if you feel like you're not going to bring him back next year? So,
yeah, I could definitely see that perspective from the team side. I wonder if Austin Eckler would be okay with that. You're going into the latter half of your career. You probably don't want to be running to the ground.
Potentially. It's also a showcase in case you can convince the team to pay you, but we'll see.
That's a great point. Yeah, the opportunity to show that your aging isn't impacting you as bad. Yeah, great point.
Yeah, and looking at it from that perspective, I mean, that's part of the reason I love Josh Jacobs last year so much. Same exact situation, and he ran everything.
He showed out.
Did it? He showed out. So Eckler's already shown that he can do it at the one spot overall. If they're running him to the ground, short little passes, that offense. Whew, yeah, he could be the one yet again.
Scott, and here I had a question for us. He said, don't you guys think in SFB 13, if you take Kelce in round 1, you are pigeonholed into taking a QB in round 2? So let's hypothetical thought experiment here. You're taking Kelce at 1. You get back to the end of the second round. What position are you comfortable targeting?
So I'm not going to force quarterback in that situation, even though I know how valuable they are. I feel like the no negatives kind of spread it out a bit, and you still have some top 10 finishes that you can perhaps get third, fourth round if you're willing to wait that long. So I wouldn't force what would likely be a Deshaun Watson, perhaps a Dak if he gets there, or a Tua. I wouldn't force any of those guys if you have a skill player you prefer. So that's just a tough thing for me. That's what the one Kelce situation kind of throws things off. Is are you willing to sacrifice a top quarterback? I guess you could say.
And I feel like the point you're making there, Pierre, is the one I always think about whenever I take a unconventional early round strategy. Is it almost feels like it feels like you're asking to tilt. Yeah. But if you just keep your head level and don't force your next few decisions, I think you can make that strategy work. So I don't know if that's a clear enough answer for you, Scott, but I think we answered it clearly.
I am just so satisfied that Vic Theory 92 took Tua, because I would have been so sad to see Swamp get the stack that I've been trying to build for years.
The Tyreek Tua stack.
That's all I want, and that's what I'm hoping for Scott Fishbowl. I'm hoping it finally happens, but I've been drafting with these bozos for so long that they just know that's who I want. So I think when it comes time for the actual draft, it'll finally happen. But
so I know you can't predict injuries, but are you not concerned with Tua's concussion history now?
I mean, at this point, he and the organization have both stated, I've seen reports from doctors that say that, I mean, he's good to go, ready to run. I mean, geez, look at this here. What the heck is he now? You know what? Oh, here we go. All right. You know what? We'll do this. I may not like it, but
DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I'm not royally concerned about it. And in these kinds of leagues that we're playing in, I mean, I think he and Tyreek Hill are going to have one of the best QB wide receiver duos that's ever happened. I think that's about to happen. Year 2 in the system. Tyreek has said himself he wants to be the guy that goes for the first ever 2,000 yards in a regular season. So I believe the hype train. I'm also a Dolphins fan. It's more Craig, you rude, sassy.
Rude and sassy.
God.
Is sassy a bad thing?
I don't know. And
sometimes it seems like a good thing in some contexts.
Dude, I hate it here. Ugh.
Anthony MFN Richardson.
Well, I'm a Colts fan, so he just kind of got me a little bit there.
Secondary snipe. Look what you did, Craig.
That was Craig.
Those are kind of like two guys when you talk about Kelce early on. Those are, I think, two guys you can take a shot on from an upside standpoint. With Geno, believe it or not, Geno Smith, I think he finished like top 8 last year.
Oh, that nickname is so good. Believe it or not, Geno.
Oh, yeah.
Is that his real nickname, or did you just say that?
No, I don't think it is.
It is now.
I was hoping to get the Geno DK stack, and Craig saw right through it. Right through it.
Man, the Geno. You wanted
Craig's talking trash in the chat now. Too.
And now he's rubbing it in your face. Which happens first, Tim getting that stack in a mock or someone hitting a queen bee? Neither. Greg came in here with a really good idea. He said, imagine how agonizing the waiting process would be for Scott Fishbowl invites if all went via snail mail, and how freaked out all those mail carriers would be when grown-ass adults running out to greet them each day. No, it's not here yet.
What would be? I'm imagining like a Harry Potter situation where you get like an owl flies in and drops off the letter.
Drops off a backpack.
What's the equivalent?
Fish.
Is it like a hot dog guy just throwing out the letters?
Spells out your entire division in hot dogs. It's a big reveal.
For the water aspect, you could do the whole note in a bottle Toss it out to sea there. Can I make its way over?
Oh, that's such a good video idea. It's got someone on a distant shores finds it.
Like finally somebody made from Civilization contacted me. Scott Fishbowl invitation.
What the heck is this?
Yeah,
Some sort of
get me
human
off the island.
Some human fish collaboration. Confused.
Yeah.
Scott in here said, "Does Geno have a chance to repeat what he did last year?" Pierre, you were about to. No, you just were on the clock. Yeah. So you got to. How do you feel about Geno Smith? Are you bullish on him this year?
Yeah, I think you have to be just with his weapons. I mean, DK, obviously Tyler Lockett, who always goes overlooked for some reason, and then Jackson Smith, Enigma out of Ohio State, probably the top receiver in the draft. When you got weapons you can throw it to, your ceiling's really unlimited. And he has 3 really good ones. He has a guy he can hand it off to keep the defense honest, and it's just about the offensive line.
More than one.
So, yeah.
I think most people wish that he didn't have more than one.
That's true. It's true. Yeah. I'm still on the Kenneth Walker train, but we'll see how that unfolds.
You're not worried at all about Zach Charbonnet?
I'm not just yet. Again, you never know what the season, but I mean, Walker being fresh, being healthy, carried a lot at Michigan State himself. So I still think he can be a bell cow. Obviously, teams don't really use guys as bell cow backs much anymore, but I'm still thinking he's going to be the head and shoulders top guy there right now.
Oh, so you think he'll get the sponsorship too?
Yeah, that's right.
I see. Tim, how are you feeling about that Seattle situation?
I don't know. I mean, I am wheels up on the Seattle's offense. So I think, you mentioned Lockett. I think he's perennially underdrafted. But I think wheels up for DK. I think JSN is going to have a good year. And then I am going to avoid the running backs like the plague.
I think that's a fair strategy. I think that is a totally fair strategy. It's like ambiguous backfield, but it doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel like anybody's going to win.
Yep.
That's true. That's true. You never know about Pete Carroll, though.
Yeah.
He throws when he should hand it off.
Every time. All Pete. Mr. Scamers here saying Craig sniping like Indiana Jones spinning mirrors.
I haven't seen it yet. So
Me neither. Me neither. I told someone that recently.
Actually Harrison Ford again?
Yeah.
Is it?
Somehow.
Interesting. I thought the last one was like Shia LaBeouf or something, wasn't it?
I think that was.
It sounds right and also so wrong at the same time.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've watched the Indiana Jones movies. So.
We got Ben Ross in here saying, I'm drafting 2 bell cow running backs, my first 3 picks in most leagues. Yeah, the running back strategy has shifted over the years, has been interesting. This year, what do you guys feel like is the optimal running back strategy in redraft formats? Is it going early, grabbing that running back early, or is it waiting, going maybe closer to a 0 RB type strategy?
I mean, for me, it's more go with your heart. I go balanced if I can. And everybody does their own tier breaks, right? So, I mean, Justin Jefferson, I know people love Jamar Chase, but he's maybe top 5 redraft for me. I think there are a couple other guys that are like a little bit better. Tyreek, I think, again, is going to be the wide receiver 1 this year. So if you're getting him at the wide receiver 3 overall, I think he's a great pick. But if CMC is staring me in the face and I have AJ Brown next to him, Cooper Kupp, I might take that running back before I take one of them. So.
And for me, I think it depends on the league. I've been a strong, hero RB drafter in the past, and I think the last couple of years, I kind of got brought down to earth a bit with how just the game's just changed, and it's so like high-powered offenses airing it out. So I'll probably wait in some of your standard leagues, especially like a full-point PPR type situation. But I feel in the Scott Fishbowl itself, just the scoring changes, I'll probably be more heavy on running backs. Yeah. Just based off projections and based off how I understand, first down, touches, attempts, those type of things. And I'm not sure that everyone's kind of realizing that when you look at what the totals are for a full year, I think the running backs have quite the advantage over receivers in that format. Obviously, in standard formats, I think I go the opposite way and go team receiver.
Yeah. The Scott Fishbowl rules definitely make those pass catching running backs a little bit more valuable than your standard league. Tim with the Joe Mixon pick.
I like Joe Mixon a lot this year.
I do too.
I like him a lot.
I feel like everyone's scared of him, and I'm not that scared.
I mean, if you could go back the past couple of years, I've been one of the biggest not him truthers.
Yeah, you have not been on the Joe Mixon train.
Yeah, but this year, I think it's wheels up for him. I mean, I think the value there is insane. Some of these running backs going before him. I mean,
talent's still there, right?
Talent's still there. It's supposed to be. I think they were top 6 offense last season. I think that's going to change a little bit now that the AFC North is not, a paper cup as it has been for the past couple seasons. So, I still think they're going to have a lot of fun there, and I think he's due for a big season. So, love it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. How you feel about Joe Mixon this year, Pierre? Are you as bullish as Tim, or a little bit more concerned?
I'm probably on the concern side. Like, he looked dust last year. He had one big game that really kind of made his fantasy season, but he had the opportunity, which is ultimately what you want. So that's why I'm kind of on the fence. Like, I know the opportunity's there, but he was like Trent Richardson in most of those games, except for 1 or 2. So where's that going to fall into place?
I feel like you either fall into one of two camps. It's that you buy into the fact that this is Joe Mixon falling off, or you buy in the fact that this is just a situation that his talent is still there and will bounce back.
Yeah, I guess it's worth the risk. No more P. Ryan, so you don't have to worry about that situation anymore. And someone just took Judy right in front of me to take my Russ and Judy stack. So now I'm a little annoyed with what Steve's there.
All this stack stealing is
I got one. I got Higgins and Burrow. I thought I was getting ready to get another, and they had other ideas. So I'll go tight end here.
Dallas Goedert pick. I like that. I feel we talked a little bit about Dallas Goedert earlier in the week on our Scott Fishbowl mock draft stream. And there's a larger gap between Dallas Goedert and the other tight ends in that format. Why are you excited about Dallas Goedert this year? What is it? This Eagles offense, them being great?
Yeah, and I'm kind of worried, honestly, because if you look at when the Eagles really took off offensively, it was kind of when Sirianni gave it over to Steichen to run the offense. That's when that took place, and Steichen's here in Indy now, so I'm curious how much that's going to change. And I still think Sirianni's a good offensive coach, but my mind is definitely thoughtful of the fact that they didn't take off until he gave over the kind of offensive play calling duties. So just keep that in mind. But still, Hurts, Smith, AJ Brown, so many weapons. Tight end still important. I like to usually get a safe starter and then just kind of leave the position alone. And I think Goddard is that safe starter for me.
Have you been targeting it? You find yourself drafting him in a lot of mock drafts at this point?
Yeah, I'm right in this range. I don't usually go after, these first 4 or 5 guys, but when you get down to Goddard, Ingram, Freiermuth, and Njoku, those are the group that I tend to end up with.
Right.
If I get Fields, sometimes I just wait for Cole Kmet, but usually it's this grouping that I kind of target.
Tim, the team you're putting together is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a weird one. I'm just waiting for Craig to take Michael Thomas so I can just quit the stream. But yeah, I like it. I generally don't go tight end early unless it's Travis Kelce. Two of the guys, I love Darren Waller this year, and I actually really like Dalton Schultz. He's one of the guys that I'm looking for in Scott Fishbowl as well. Just way, way down there buried that I think could have some pretty good value in that offense where you don't really know what's going on down there. So I think he's a good safety net.
Dalton Schultz.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel like there's mid-level of tight end value this year is very prominent, right? The Hawkinson, him taking a step up. Kittle kind of, I don't know, there's some concern about Kittle last year, right? Coming out of that season with the injury. And it feels like this year there's not as much concern from the public here.
It's because Purdy unlocked George Kittle. True, yeah. When you look at when Purdy took over, Kittle came back. It's crazy.
How do you feel about that Purdy situation,
Oh
Pierre?
my goodness, I'm not touching it.
Pretty good.
Oh my goodness. I mean, Lance, Darnold, like, who knows what they're going to do?
Who do you think should be the starting quarterback?
I mean, it's Darnold's world, and we're just living in it, right?
It's all Darnold's world.
Based off, and this is an awful way to base it, but based off of draft capital that you gave up to go get a guy like Trey Lance, I feel like you should see what he has.
Yeah,
I know Purdy played well, and you want to reward those guys. You can't just be like, "Oh, you weren't the top pick, so we gotta leave you alone." So I understand that, but I feel like you got to give Lance a shot. But we'll see what they do.
Have y'all heard any reports of Purdy's hands? I mean, I haven't seen anything since the season about him even being able to grip a ball, let alone play again.
Firm but gentle is the word coming out of camp. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think there's concern whether he'll be ready for the season, but I don't think we've gotten any definitive word on when that timeline will be. And I don't think the 49ers have any sort of real advantage in giving that information up.
Yeah, but I want it. Have they considered that?
Give me.
Yeah, give me.
What do you think of Darnold? So I know you kind of mentioned him. I mean, we saw him have a pretty decent year in Carolina when he got a chance late. Yeah. 49ers offense. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think he's just had such bad luck getting drafted to the Jets and just having just horrid leadership, just a shambles of a team going around him, and then down to Carolina
on top of that.
Yeah,
man.
But I mean, he was rushing tutties all over the place last year, right?
5 in like 3 games. It's absurd.
Well, would you say the same for Baker Mayfield when you talk about getting drafted into a rough situation in the Browns?
Yeah, similar. I mean, Baker's. I think he had one of the rookie touchdown leads when he first got there. So I mean, he's shown flashes and he's shown toughness that I definitely appreciate in a player. It's just kind of unfortunate in the same way.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Sam Darnold, man. Sam Darnett, such a good name, such a good nickname. I feel like only Simon Tim and I found that funny though. Sam Darnett is I want to believe in him. I would like nothing more than to believe in Sam Darnold. But he's gotta show up. He's gotta come, he's gotta do his half of the work, I can believe in him, but he's gotta show up. And so I think he's in that tier of like, I haven't seen it in so long from Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I think he's capable of it, but it's gonna be some work.
It's hard to trust those USC quarterbacks. I think like Carson Palmer is really the only one that stood out. But when you look at like Leinart and you look at Sanchez, like those guys just don't tend to pan out more often than not.
Yeah, not the greatest track record.
Ooh,
Scampers in here said Purdy has been throwing.
Okay, that's good.
A temper tantrum. Because his hands are too small.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, man.
Z2 said color coordination is the key in drafts. Drafting from the first position here is perfectly in sequence.
Shoot.
QB, 4 wide receivers, 2 running backs. That is beautiful. Just gorgeous. Man. How much does color coordination factor into your decision making, Pierre?
In my clothes a lot. Like I like to match. Like it drives me crazy if I don't match, and that's from shirt down to shoes. Like I like to match and accessorize.
Yeah,
drafts not too much. I'm a big blue and orange color, so
it's probably smart.
Receivers, tight ends, but yeah, I don't think I want a team full of those.
That's blue and orange. Those are my colors.
I think I always try and get within the first 6 picks. One of each, if I can.
One of each. Yeah. I feel like you and I do tend to go that balance strategy, right? The balance team strategy where you try and spread your foundation across those 4 rounds, get as many of those key positions something before you start branching off. I feel like it's a strategy that gives me the most flexibility to adjust to the draft board and what my league mates are doing.
Yeah, especially in Scott Fishbowl where you can't trade. You can't not do it.
You can't not do it. And Scott Fishbowl, like everybody's doing weird stuff. So
yeah,
it's perfect for that. Do you find yourself? Go ahead, Pierre.
I was gonna say you can only start so many, and so it makes sense to try to be balanced because you want the highest scoring starting lineup that you can possibly put together.
Right.
So you just got to keep that in mind. And if you're going strictly, receivers, like 4 receivers, I know you got to flex, but in Scott Fishbowl, I don't want to flex receiver personally. My flex are probably going to be running backs and tight ends, maybe even a kicker over a receiver, just based off how I feel the scoring is going to go.
Why is that? Can you expand on that?
Well, yeah, because when you look at projections, a lot of people have great projections out there, and just kind of the drop off after the top tier receivers. Like there's a point where the receivers, whether it be, I think around 15 or so, are kind of right in line with tight ends and kickers. And so what's the point of having a third, fourth string, receiver when your tight ends and your running backs, and again, some of your kickers are scoring more and more consistently than those guys are. And again, look at the trends, look at based how the scoring is going to be. There's quite a drop off from a wide receiver standpoint. Once you get right around wide receiver 14, wide receiver 15, which are still good players, but they're just not putting up the ceilings or the averages as tight ends because of the extra scoring, as running backs now because of the extra scoring. And I'm not sure folks are adjusting that accordingly.
That's a really good call out. The wide receiver position in general, you have more variance on a week-to-week basis. Mm-hmm. And so it's, that makes sense in the way you're looking at it, where you're kind of looking at the entire position, right? Like vertically, and being like, all right, well, it's pretty heavy here versus light here, I think is smart call out.
Yeah. And the Scott Fish cumulative score as much as you can. That's the whole point.
I love it when you speak cumulative to me.
Oh, yeah. I love it when I learn how to say it right on the first try.
It's a big word for a Friday. We're going to have to say
I know. That's a first beer word. We're on the second one.
I really wish that was like a rule in college. Like you couldn't say cumulative on Fridays. And everyone agrees. We're not saying that word.
It's like the magic word. What was that? Pee-wee's Playhouse? Word of the day where everybody just went crazy. Cumulative.
Oh my God.
I'm old. I just dated myself a little bit with Pee-wee there, I'm sure. That's not where my name came from. My name, my tag handle comes from my actual name, PW.
Yeah, so. It's funny because when I read your handle earlier before the show, I was like, it immediately makes me think of Pee Wee Herman. Obviously, I think like most people.
No, not the case. So, believe it or not, I was pretty short growing up. I'm like 6'1" now, but I was probably 5'5" until my sophomore, junior year in high school. So that's where Pee Wee stems from.
I like it. Pee Wee 31.
That's right. That's Reggie Miller at the end. Reggie Miller's the 31, being an Indiana guy.
I love the concept of like people have like numbers that they love.
No,
you know what I mean? Like Marie and I were walking yesterday, and I was just like, 4 is my number.
Dude, 4 is one of my numbers. I love
Let's go. I just love how everyone has like a little secret like notebook of numbers that they love.
I don't think I have a notebook of numbers
in their head.
Oh, okay. Well,
a head notebook.
Gotcha. Okay.
They never work in like the Powerball, but they're still good numbers.
Yeah, why isn't 44444 working?
What the hell? I'm so unlucky.
It's crazy.
Collusion.
Oh, Tim almost up. Pierre just went Cam Akers, Javonte Williams there in the 8th and 9th round. That is a solid running back, like double back-to-back pick. Yeah, because it's high risk. Like there's a lot of risk there, but it's high reward too.
I mean, good value, I feel. And Cam Akers, I love what I saw at the end of last season. So I'm kind of basing it off that, and hopefully he stays out of the doghouse with McVay. I think he unlocks quite a few things with the Rams offense because all they have is Cooper Kupp. Unless you're counting Tyler Higbee, they really just have Cooper Kupp. So I think they could run the ball a bit more. And then Javonte, we saw what he could do before the injury. not the Achilles like he had to deal with Cam Akers, more the ACL standpoint. So I feel like he could have a bounce back type of year. You know, Sean Payton likes to keep his running backs involved, and hopefully Russell Wilson can do so and keep him in the game. Maybe give him some dump downs and see what he can do in the open field. In addition to P. Ryan being there now.
You guys think? You think Sean Payton's going to be able to revive old Mr. Unlimited?
No.
Yeah. I do. I believe a little bit more in NFL conspiracies than some people, but I think they sent Russell Wilson there as kind of like not a punishment, but like a little bit of a punishment. And then now that they served his 1 year of just like absolutely horrendous media coverage, then he's gonna come on back. And when you look at that Denver offense, they had so many like talked about injuries. I feel like it was really interesting towards the halfway point in the season, and they had just lost like their whole offensive line. They lost their star running back. Their receivers were on and off injured. They didn't have anything, and everybody's cooking Russell. And it's like, well, he's got like a bunch of people that could be playing in the the AFL or whatever that league is starting for him right now. So I think they take a big step forward. And I think Sean Payton is just sneaking in for like a sneaky little ride here. So conspiracy for sure. But
I mean, I took Russ in this mock, but that was just more I didn't like the quarterbacks behind him as a QB2.
Yeah.
Pierre, you're not as bullish that Sean Payton can bring Russell Wilson back. You think Russ has lost a step?
I mean, I just don't know. I'm not confident enough to make that choice. And again, I mean, he asked Judy, but I didn't think Sutton was that great. As you mentioned, other injuries like Hamler couldn't stay on the field. That's probably why they went out and got Mims. So I'm just not certain. I'd rather go with someone else. But besides Russ, it seems like he's kind of been about himself a little bit here lately, which is always dangerous. So I know he's dangerous. I didn't do that on purpose. I mean,
we all heard.
I will stack it. We're talking about this team. I'll stack it up a little bit. So I guess I better get bullish
I like
if
it.
my actual team ends up like that.
I like it. And it's not, I mean, everybody puts it all on the quarterback's shoulders, but I mean, that coaching situation last season was bottom of the barrel. So Peyton is a proven coach, and I think that is going to be just huge for stability. So
yeah,
trending up for sure.
I think I lean more towards your side, Tim, because I think that I just have a hard time resolving the idea that people like suddenly lose the ability to do what they have done many times. And when I look back,
I just watched Matt Ryan for a full season last year.
It happened. You're right. It's how almost all careers end, right? They do lose a step eventually, and
he never had a step to start. The dude is just like, that's beside the point. I love Matt Ryan, but man, he was the sack captain is what he was.
Sack captain. He'd be a good name in any situation. Sack captain. Oh my God. Oh, yeah. I don't think Russell Wilson had the tool. Like, he wasn't equipped to go into that franchise and be set the culture there. I think he has participated in that team culture in Seattle for a long time, and he became the leader by being there a long time. And I think there was some growing pains going down there to Denver with no real leadership. And so whether Sean Payton's able to provide that leadership is still up for debate, and we'll see how he does that this year. But I do tend to lean a little bit more that probably will. Guys like him tend to get lucky, stuff like that.
So Sean Payton, a good coach, or was Drew Brees just a stellar quarterback?
You can't have one without the other. I mean, what do you take, Billy B or Tom Brady?
Yeah, I think it's like maybe most things, probably a bit of both. Yeah. I will say I wasn't a big Sean Payton fan a couple years ago. Like, I just didn't see as much of his achievements being his own. And when I really dove back into his coaching career, I started changing my mind. I actually do think he's a very good coach. So yeah, I think he'll be all right, but we will see. I think he's a great coach, not his biggest fan in general, but
fair enough. That's valid.
Fun fact about Sean Payton is he had a job coaching at the University of Maryland when he got in his car and drove to Philadelphia to interview for Andy Reid's Eagles. I think he was going into the season ready to coach Maryland, and then he just left.
Oh, he left.
Are you sure about that?
I think we have a little trend here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right, I'm getting close again here. Let's see.
I see Juju just sitting there. Like,
I'm terrified of that Patriots.
I
offense.
know. I know.
We talked about BB. I'm like terrified. But
Juju, I feel like every single mock draft I've done, I've had to spend some amount of time going, do I take Juju here?
Yeah. I've thought for like the past, like, I mean, do I do Juju?
What's the hesitancies? Like, what is the main things holding you back from wanting to lean in and buy into Juju?
I hate the Patriots. I would prefer not to have any of them on my team.
Totally fair.
Look what he
Straight
did
up
with the best quarterback in the league. Like, he wasn't great.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a couple solid stretches, but he wasn't great with Patrick Mahomes. So why do you feel like it's going to be even decent with Mac Jones and whoever's calling plays? Is it O'Brien? He's there now?
Don't you mean Bailey Zappi?
Yeah, Zap Master.
Not Hoyer, at least. No more Brian Hoyer.
No, he needs to stay for another 15 years.
I
always feel like he's ready to serve cookies, and I think it's just his last name. I think my brain simply saw Hoy and was like, "Yep, cookies."
Chips Ahoy. That's so many options in that Scott Fishbowl, man. You look at all the logos and you're just like starving by the time you're done.
I know. I wanted to be in so many divisions. I texted Scott while I was looking through. I was like, I hate this. They're all so good. There's so many good ones.
Oh yeah, I had to be at White Castle, Popeyes, so many Cheesecake Factory. There was a bunch. So.
Popeyes sounds so good right now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Popeyes fries.
I say I did anything for you.
No, I'm trying to not do that.
They have like a strawberry biscuit. That's amazing, by the way. If you haven't tried it, it has like icing on it, and it's one of their standard biscuits. But they do something with strawberry. So again, not to make you hungry, but it's amazing if you go there.
Oh, some Popeyes fries. I ate boxes of those growing up.
It's just so good.
Too many. Way too many.
Things are lethal. Guinness, I would give my dog Guinness some of those fries whenever I came home, and she'd just be like shaking, looking for the fries whenever I could smell it when I came back.
That's probably
give me the fries. And she'd just be like staring at me, and I had to throw one down there and she'd sprint.
That's hilarious. I wonder what they're putting in there now. What kind of additives do they have in their fries?
Oh, they're putting good stuff in it, I tell you what.
That good.
What to do here?
Hey, if you're enjoying this content, make sure you check out Fantasy Alarm. Our good buddy Andrew Cooper is over there putting out some content. He got a great Target article just came out. Make sure you go check that out, fantasyalarm.com. Tim, you went Bateman here over right before Flowers. Again, just triggering me every single draft.
I don't know. One of those people is going to hit. I'm going to take Bateman since I've seen him do it. At least a little bit.
It feels like a good bet to go try and target both of them. Like
I tried. That's why I got OBJ down there. I got a couple of rounds below.
Yeah. Pierre, how are you feeling about that Baltimore pass catching situation?
I'd probably go Flowers. It's just Bateman has to show he can stay on the field for one, similar with OBJ. So I'll go with the young guy and hope that Lamar can kind of unlock him. I think Andrews is always a safe choice. But out of the receivers, I do like Zay Flowers quite a bit.
I do think Mark Andrews is going to disappoint some people this year, and not because he's not the people who drafted him. Let me clarify.
Then who?
I don't know, man. Everyone.
Very likely, if you see what I'm putting down. Very likely.
Very likely. Yeah, I think people like me who are excited around the ambiguity on this offense, because he's just so good. And Lamar loves him.
What do we think Monken's going to bring?
Yeah, and how much does that passing volume increase with Monken?
Yeah.
What are you anticipating?
0 handoffs.
0 handoffs. J.K. Dobbins is just water boy now.
It's tough though because their bread and butter has been the run game. With Lamar and obviously hopefully Dobbins, stays healthy, and even Gus Edwards has got some spurts, but that's what's been winning them games. And Lamar's scramble abilities, kind of what he's known for. So how much is that going to change now? And do you trust him to be mostly a drop back passer if they try to make him that?
Right. And I feel like they have been primarily run, but the way that they're building the roster now, it's almost like they can rely on that infrastructure without having to only rely on it.
True.
See what I'm saying?
True.
That's what I'm hoping happens this season. And I'm a Ravens fan, so of course maybe that's optimistic, but that's the hope, is that they'll still have that in their pocket. I mean, Lamar just has that always in his pocket.
Yeah.
Do that at any moment.
I love Lamar this year too. So
what was I doing? I was trying to change. Oh no, this is a mess. What a mess. I think if I add a position, is it going to add a round?
Do you feel lucky?
Yeah.
I don't feel lucky.
I don't feel great about my draft. I feel okay with it. So if it gets wiped out, I'm fine.
Oh, I'm so scared. Plus, right now we're not doing it.
Yeah.
We'll wait till Simon comes back.
Was there some type of rule change that happened this offseason as well that I'm just missing or hearing wrong, where they're trying to limit or get rid of forward handoffs?
I don't think I heard that one.
I have not heard that one either.
Okay, because I need to look more into that, because that would be insane if that is actually true.
Yeah.
Because that changes all of the read option stuff.
Like shovel passes as well. Like any.
Well, that would just be a pass.
Oh yeah.
But if
just
forward handoffs,
okay.
I don't know. I saw it somewhere. I don't know where. It might have been in a dream, and I hope it was.
If you're dreaming about NFL rules, that's so interesting. I feel like we gotta talk about that.
I'm in it, man.
I'm in it. I'm deep.
You should be like the spokesperson for that meme where the chick's looking over at her boyfriend, wondering what he's thinking.
Dude, what if they couldn't hand it out forward?
Did the NFL propose a new rule?
That's awesome. Next level dreams.
Then you got Odell Beckham here in the 12th round to follow that up. Just going full. Tim, I feel like your team
frightens me.
For real. I feel like Tim's team like 3 years ago would be sick.
Oh man,
with some babies on it.
Mixon, Michael Thomas, Odell, tossing Baker now. Man, you're cooking.
Yeah, well, I got Evans there, so there's my first stack of the. We got some stacks, boys.
Got some stacks. Finally, they can't keep them all away from you.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think Kyle Trask is going to win that job.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine.
I feel like nobody is fully in on Kyle Trask. They're all just like hesitantly in on Kyle Trask.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
Yes.
I don't know.
Dude, this pick is one that I'm trying to get in every single draft. I love getting Tank Bigsby so late. It's absolutely flooring. I love it. I mean, I obviously I love ETN as a person, as a player, but new regime, man, they drafted Bigsby for a reason. That I think he's going to get a bigger role than people think.
My guess would be to play football.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they did split with, James Robinson a bit early on too, and you got to assume they don't want to run ETN down, so it would make sense for him to have a pretty solid road carved out.
Yeah. Tank Bigsby, I'm just expecting to not like him at all now. Here on the clock, your last pick here.
Dobbs.
Z2, who we talked about a little bit earlier, really went heavy on that wide receivers those first 5 rounds. It's the first position here. Patrick Mahomes, Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson, Amari Cooper, and Calvin Ridley.
Studs.
What do you guys think about that strategy in a redraft? Going heavy on wide receiver value where your league mates might not be prioritizing them, but you might not need them.
I love his team in a redraft. Sorry to cut you off there. He's still got pretty good running backs too. So go ahead, Tim.
Your QB2 looking like Kyler Murray makes me pretty nervous. Running backs, we talk about the up in the air situation in Seattle. Baltimore, we have no idea what's going to look like. The talent is there. James Cook, similar situation. So, and Jamal Williams, I don't know what's going to go on in New Orleans. So I'm nervous about that strategy. Yeah, a lot has to go right for this running back crew to be good. I like I said, I'm not totally comfortable doing that. Obviously, it's a great wide receiver room, but I can't do that.
Two of those running backs and a quarterback, and the Kyler hits, or you pick up a quarterback, and you're off to the races.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think more likely more likely than not, it probably doesn't work out. But you'll probably get a year where that really does work. Final 3 picks here, Pierre. Looking back at your team here, are there any things you would do differently?
Yeah, I don't think so. That's a no
optimal decision making. No regrets.
I did so good, JL.
I just did the
I just ran laps around these fellas.
No, I mean, I don't know if I like Higgins as my wide receiver 1. Like maybe go earlier there, but I mean, I got him stacked with Burrow, so I don't hate it. Maybe again more top heavy at receiver a little bit, but
if you had known that you were going to grab Akers and Javonte Williams in those middle rounds, which of course you couldn't have known, but in hindsight, looking at that, I'm like, maybe I would have waited on like an Eckler and gone wide receiver, but
could have got Diggs or Devontae myself. So that's
I like the team that you put together. Both your guys' teams, I think, are solid.
Well, thank you. I'm looking through others. I love T-Law this year down with at the end at 12. T-Law and Cup. With Geno, that's a pretty good quarterback. And then obviously I think Cup has a bounce back because he's the only target there for Stafford to throw to.
Yeah, Cup was so interesting for fantasy this year because I think majority of people probably fall on the line that you were on, Pierre, is like he's going to come back strong. Mm-hmm. But I think there's more uncertainty there, and I'm concerned. And it's not all has to do with Cup.
But just the team in general?
That team, like what is their higher level strategy? I'm having trouble seeing that.
That's not up to you to see, though. You see
that
Cooper Kupp, wide receiver 1.
That's my job.
Wide receiver 1, big boy.
Wide receiver 1, let's go. I think that's the most likely outcome for sure.
Well, Van Jefferson's not scaring anybody. So they still got Skoranek. Like none of that. It's Cup, maybe Higbee. That's it.
Yeah. All right. I think that wraps up our mock draft, Pierre. Thank you for joining us, man. That was a ton of fun.
Hey, thanks for having me as always. Always fun to be on. So appreciate it. Good luck in your future drafts, coming up here. Hope you both do well.
Get the stack.
Get the stack, Tim. Get the stack.
I just want the stack. I'm just talking about the stack. I just want the stack.
Stacks, Tim, stacks. That's going to do it for us today here on the Fantasy Football Game Show. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button on YouTube and subscribe to Front Yard Fantasy on YouTube. We're here every single weekday, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and other times of other days that we do other stuff. And so make sure you are tuned in, locked in for that so you don't miss it. And check out Better Sports Network before you head off to your weekend. All right, guys. Ready to get out of here?
Let's do it.
So.
Mamma mia. Oh, and of course, make sure you're following Pierre. Oh my God, I almost forgot.
Oh, yeah.
Pierre, fantastic follow at Peewee31. Such a good follow. And you will see him back on this show in no time, I'm sure. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Usually Simon finds a video.
Can't wait to think of more rules.
I'm so excited. All the rules.
They're going to be so fun.